Big time severe weather is expected today across the southeast, with multiple tornadoes possible, damaging winds, and large hail expected. I'll break that all down in today's forecast, so let's get started now. We have a level 3 out of 5 enhanced risk for severe weather today, ranging from areas in Jackson, Mississippi, all the way up into areas in Birmingham, Alabama. That is that orange area. In that yellow area, that's a 2 to 5 slight risk for severe weather today. That's just from areas like Bryan, Texas, all up into areas in Atlanta, Georgia, in Athens, Georgia. In that dark green area is a marginal 1 to 5 risk for severe weather, running from Del Rio, Texas, all up into areas in Knoxville, Tennessee, and Greenville, South Carolina. Even some of North Carolina is in this risk zone in that dark green. Let's take a look at our tornado threat. Here is our tornado probabilities for today. The yellow area is a 10% risk for tornadoes. The brown area is a 5% risk for tornadoes, and the green area is a 2% risk for tornadoes. And where we see that pattern dashed line, that is a Sig 1 or intensity level 1. Basically, that means we could see EF2 plus intensity tornadoes possible in that area. Here is our wind risk. That yellow area is a 15% damaging wind risk, and that brown area is a 5% damaging wind risk. Take a look at our hail risk. Here is our hail risk for today. The yellow area is a 15% damage. Here is our hail risk for today. That yellow area is a 50% risk for hail, and that brown area is a 5% risk for hail. And where that pattern is, just like the tornado risk, that is a Sig 1 intensity level 1. And for hail, that means we could see 2-inch plus diameter hail possible in that area. Let's take a look at what our models are showing for today. Here is our latest model run showing our expected reflectivity or rain. We have morning convection that eventually dies out very fast. We see some supercells start to fire in areas in Louisiana and eventually mature, causing a bigger tornado threat. Some supercells start to form in areas in northern Mississippi, Georgia. Basically, in the afternoon hours, going into nighttime hours, to see supercells start to fire everywhere, starting from eastern Texas all up into areas in southern Tennessee and northern Georgia. With a threat of tornadoes with any of these storms, the best case scenario would be that we have too much convection in those storms, are not able to get enough outflow and inflow, and they eventually just die out and get cut off by other storms. That'd be the best case scenario, but as of right now, it seems like they will be semi-discreet, and they could try to produce a few tornadoes, possibly strong tornadoes are expected today. And then eventually, as we go into the very late night hours, around 10 p.m., we start to see some start to really die out. There's still a little tornado threat with some lingering supercells that are trying to develop, but are dying out really fast. They could still try to produce something. And we also have a risk for Thursday. Storms start to very messy risk in the far southeast and Georgia areas. Mainly going to be wind and hail threat, but tornadoes are definitely still possible on Thursday. Let's take a look at our surface-based cape. Here is our surface-based cape for today. Basically, our storm's energy is convective, stands for convective available potential energy. So storm's energy, basically. The more cape we have, the more the storms have to work with, and the more severe they could be. Usually, you need about 500 to 1,000 cape for severe storm, and we definitely are not lacking any cape today. At least in the Louisiana, Texas, Mississippi area, and also in areas in Alabama. Georgia does lack a little bit of cape, but they still have strong shear that could try to still produce tornadoes with those storms. Which is why that main threat is over here in Louisiana, Eastern Texas, and Mississippi and Alabama areas. We are looking at numbers up to 4,000 plus joules per kilogram, which is definitely enough for severe weather. Like I said, usually you need about 500 to 1,000 joules per kilogram for storms to be severe. So we definitely have enough cape to work with for today. Let's take a look at our shear. Here's our bulk shear for today. Basically, our wind change in speed in direction as we go higher in the atmosphere. We'll need about 30 to 40 knots for it to be sustainable for rotating supercells, of which we definitely are not lacking any of that today. We're looking at numbers going up into 60, 50 plus, almost 60 knots of bulk shear. So we definitely have enough shear for today. You can see this entire area, this entire pocket right here is 30 to 50 knots of bulk shear here. So we definitely are not lacking any fuel, any energy for these storms, or bulk shear for these storms. So they definitely have a good environment. Just like I said, if they over-convect, that could definitely kill down that severe weather threat a lot. Either way, we are most likely going to get severe weather today. It just depends on if it over-convects, it could definitely make the severe weather not as bad. It could make it less severe, mainly going to be wind and hail if it over-convects. But if it does not over-convect too much, then there could definitely be a few tornadoes, possibly strong tornadoes. We are expecting a lot of shear, which means we could see a lot of rotating storms, because shear helps storms to rotate. Let's take a look at our significant tornado parameters. Here's our significant tornado parameter numbers. We can see as we go throughout today. We definitely are seeing a very high amount of significant tornado parameter numbers. Again, significant tornado parameter, basically, it is going off multiple different parameters in the environment and tells where there could be possibly significant tornadoes. So anything above 1 to 2 is definitely concerning. We could definitely have a favorable environment for tornadoes if there's anywhere with 1 to 2. Signature also with convection. So we definitely have a good environment today. We're looking at numbers going up into 6, almost 7. We can go up to like 10 plus significant tornado parameter. So we're looking at very high significant tornado parameter numbers, almost maxed out significant tornado parameter numbers. So definitely a very favorable environment for tornadoes today. All throughout the night, you can see it starts to weaken, but still a threat in the far southeast. And also on Thursday, there's still a little threat for tornadoes, but it will be mainly a messy slop fest on Thursday. But today, we definitely could see a few tornadoes, damaging winds, and large hail, all possible if storms cannot overconvect. But like I said, if storms overconvect, that'd be the best case scenario. We really want these storms to overconvect, because then they would choke out most of the storms. They wouldn't be able to rotate as much. There wouldn't be as many tornadoes if the storms were to overconvect. Let's take a look at our dew points. Here's our dew point for today. I just want to look at these real quick. These basically show our moisture. We are expecting like a cold front type of setup here. And we definitely are expecting a lot of moisture today with 70 temp and 70 dew points, 70 degrees Fahrenheit and dew points, which is very high dew points. So we definitely are not lacking moisture at all, which makes sense because is a Gulf setup right beside the Gulf. So there's definitely no lack of moisture here. The only question that remains is if the storms will overconvect. And if the storm can stay in the warm sector, not the cold sector, because the cold sector storms will not, the cold sector storms up here will not be able to produce mini tornadoes. But the storms that are in this high moisture, high temperature environment, they will be able to produce more tornadoes, and they will have a more favorable environment. The question is still just if they overconvect or not. That's going to be all for today's forecast. If you guys want to see more forecasts, make sure you guys like and subscribe. I most likely will be live later if I need to. Again, we do have an enhanced risk for severe weather. So definitely a high-end risk for severe weather today. That's a level 3 out of 5. So we definitely have a decent risk for storms today. Make sure you guys do like and subscribe for more. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you guys do turn notifications also so you get notified when I go live. Also, check out tuftsweather.org if you want to see the outlook for your specific city. It is my website I've recently made that lets you look at cities, your current weather forecast. It also has radar I'm working on there, so you should definitely check that out. Thank you so much for watching.